talk about why Kip McKean is the greatest cult leader of all times. And when I say this, I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to make jokes. I'm being dead serious. Kip McKean, by the numbers, is the greatest cult leader in American history. In American history. The reason why I believe this is important is because so many people out there have stories about being abused by this, by people, ICOC, Crossroads Movement, ICC, Restored Churches Worldwide. So many people have so many stories out there about being abused by this cult, by the cults that Kip McKean starts. And so I think it's very important for people to understand the origins of these cults, the origins of what he believes, and just the impact. I don't think anybody can just put down the impact that Kip McKean has had on the world, okay? So I want to take a second to really talk about that. And I will be adjusting my camera. I got to play cameraman and teacher, so I'm looking at myself, but there's a lag, okay? So boom, let's just go through a couple things, okay? One thing we're going to talk about today. This is a quote by Kip's second hire, the second evangelist that was hired in the Boston Church of Christ. So for those of you guys who don't know, Kip McKean he likes to say that he's the founder of the ICOC, the ICC, and Jason Dimitri is the front man for the Restored Churches Worldwide. That's Kip McKean too. You guys just don't know that yet. But that's Kip McKean too, okay? And throughout the years, what Kip McKean has done, he's taken a system given to him by Chuck Lucas. We're going to talk about him in a second. And he's taken this military-style view on evangelism, discipleship, the Word of God, centralized leadership, church governance, church structure. He's taken this military-style leadership of the gospel, and he's really perfected it. And he's been going since 1970. Did I not put that up there? I didn't. Hold on. Let me write that real quick. I put that there. But it's 1979 to 2024. Okay? 44. Hopefully not 44. Hopefully we don't let him go into 2025. So I'm here tonight because I don't want him to go into 2025. Okay? So, just to kind of give you guys a comparison, because this is a very bold statement that I'm saying. One thing we're going to talk about tonight is a quote from the original, one of the original evangelists in Boston said the original sin of our movement is homosexuality. Particularly the sin of not just committing homosexuality, but covering it up and being perfecting the art of covering up sin. We're going to find that this is a constant theme throughout these churches. But let's talk about some notable cult leaders, okay? First of all, you got Jim Jones. A lot of people don't know this. Jim Jones was converted to the Disciples of Christ, which is a Barton and Stone movement church. Disciples of Christ is still today. He was baptized into that church in 1964, became a minister in that church in 1968. He led what's called the People's Temple from 1955 to 1978. This was where people get this notion of drink the Kool-Aid. You ever heard that? Well, that was because Jim Jones got 909 people to commit a mass suicide. It's the biggest mass suicide. He ended up committing suicide himself. Okay? But he ran his cult for 23 years, and the impact is that 900 people died. That is the impact of Jim Jones. Then you go to Charles Manson. People have heard Charles Manson, right? He had the Manson family. That only grew to about 100 members. So at the Manson family height, it was only 100 members, and the impact of that is that 9 people died in 2 years. And Manson went on to face life and eventually get the death penalty. Then you have somebody called Daniel Berg. This is probably the most successful outside of Kip McKean. This is probably the most successful cult because what a lot of cults do, very similar to what the ICOC did after Kip McKean resigned, a lot of cults figure out how to get integrated into society and be recognized as like a normal part of society. The Family did this. This was a sex cult. Okay, this was a sex cult. Actor Rose McKean was in it. And it was, their big thing was, I'm not joking about this, their big thing was loving Jesus, or basically being in a sexual relationship with Jesus, okay? From 1968 to 1995, there was a lot of reports of sexual assault with kids, raping kids. There was a lot of this being reported between 1968 and 1995. Daniel Berg died in 1994, and from 1995 on, that cult transitioned, and it seems like it's kind of safely transitioned into regular life. It still has these origins, but at its height, it's only about 10,000 members, okay? 10,000 members. Then you have David Koresh, Waco. You guys remember Waco? 82 people dead, right? These are some of the most infamous cults in American history, okay? When you look at all these cults, their impact is people died. Now, don't get me wrong. Death is tragic. This is not a lie where I'm trying to convince people death is not tragic. Death is absolutely tragic. But when you die, the suffering is over. That's why people who struggle with, a lot of people don't understand people have suicidal thoughts. A lot of people don't understand that in many instances, suicide is a solution to stop the pain. If life is suffering, as so many great philosophers have taught, right? If living is difficult, a lot of times people will commit suicide as a solution. So when you die, the pain of life stops. This is what separates Kip McKean from the greatest, worst cult leaders in American history. Kip McKean started really in 1972, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But since 1972, or 1979 thereabouts, about 2024, Kip McKean is now on his fourth cult. He has never been caught. He's never done time. As far as we know, he's never paid fines. But in this time, for the past 45 years, at its height, the ICOC had, well, they said, probably really around 120. They said they had about 140,000 members at its height. Now understand that was back in, let's say, 2002. Then what happened was the ICOC dipped down to about 98,000, and now they're back up at 112,000. Okay, thereabout, according to their reports back in March 2024. You got the ICC and RCW. Overall, this group today has about 10,000 members. Now you may say, okay, 150,000 people. Number one, these are all people still alive. These are all people still in the cult. But where the real damage and the real impact comes with Kip McKean cults, when these people, the People's Temple, right? These guys, the Waco guys, the way they got out of their cult was death. The manipulation was over. The psychological abuse was over. The torture was over. In about 2009, this is a very conservative estimate, 250,000 people walked away from Kip McKean's cults. By 2009, this is and trust me, I've been an evangelist in Kip McKean's movement. I promise you this is a lowball estimate. I promise you that between 1979 to 2024, way more than 250,000 people had walked away from the church. If I had to guess, 250,000 people walked away maybe in the 90s. That's my guess. I'm not quoting that, but if you know anything about church growth, right, and we'll talk a little bit about church growth in a second, but if you know anything about church growth, it's not a straight line, right? People will, particularly how Kip McKean teaches you to keep stats. We know that people will get baptized, people will fall away, people will move away, we'll have move-ins, we'll have restorations. So there's a lot of things, stat keeping, that Kip McKean taught that makes me believe that this number is far greater than 250 million. All that to say, or 250,000. All that to say this. When you compare Kip McKean's damage, and when we talk about damage, we're talking about psychological manipulation. We're talking about coercion. We're talking about compulsing, guilt-tripping people into giving more than 10% of their income. We did a live the other night, and we did the math. To be in Kip McKean's church, you are required to give at minimum 72 times of your weekly income every single year. You are required to give 72 weeks worth of your tithe in 1 year. That is a requirement to be a part of Kip McKean's church. You cannot be a part of Kip McKean's church if you are not willing to give special missions or if you are not willing to give your contribution every week. So they use guilt and shaming tactics to force people and to compulse people into giving. Okay? There's been stories of sexual abuse, rape. When I say sexual abuse, both homosexual and heterosexual. The cover-up and the trauma, there are still people today. Kip McKean likes to take credit for the first principle studies, even though every single verse in the first principle studies, before they revised it in the ICC, you could find in a study back from 1911. So Kip McKean didn't even invent the first principle studies. But with these first principle studies, what he would do and what he would teach people to do is to go through a Bible study series that was systematically designed to strip people of their personalities, right? To strip people of their personalities and create this in-group dynamic where people would be compelled to change their personalities to fit inside the group, okay? So after going through that study, then you would get baptized, okay? Oftentimes, I had this happen to me. You will go through the studies, get prepared to be baptized, and if they felt like you weren't, ready or you didn't meet their qualifications, whatever, they would, quote unquote, withhold your salvation as another form of control and manipulation. Basically what Kip McKean did, and we're going to talk about this in a second when we get to Chuck Lucas, but from the jump, from the day that you meet someone in the Crossroads Movement, ICOC, ICC, or RCW, you are being groomed, manipulated, and deceived in order to join this cult, right? For the sole purpose of extorting money out of you, forcing you to stay in their church, right? They have pivot now, so they don't outright say we're the only disciples saved, but they don't worship or fellowship with any other Christians. The impact of this man's damage, I estimate, I believe it's way more than this, but I believe since 1972, I believe more than 2 million people have been damaged by this man's cult. When we take into all the members that are still there today, when we take into account all the fallaways, all the people who didn't make it through the studies, all the people who had their marriages broken, all the people who had their youth taken from them, when we combine all of this, all of these stories, it's my estimate that since 1972, at least 2 million people have come in contact and been affected by these groups. And I actually believe not just 2 million people that have come in contact. I believe 2 million people have at least studied the Bible, have either been baptized, been a part of the church, and or walked away, and as a result has received some type of damage from Kip McKean and his cults. Okay? I don't say this stuff lightly, and I say these things with my whole chest. And we're about to get really deep into this. Kip McKean is the greatest cult leader in American history. Nobody has affected, nobody has damaged, nobody has gotten more money out of people. Nobody has extorted more money, nobody has extorted more control over people than Kip McKean. Okay? This is very important for us going on because we're going to talk about in a second why no one has stopped him. Because there are 4 reasons why no one has stopped this. Why no one has been able to stop this. And we're going to get very, very deep into it tonight, okay? But the first question is, okay, how did Kip McKean do this? Where did he learn this? Okay? For that, I'm going to adjust the camera one more time. If you guys have questions, now would be a good time to throw them in there so I can answer them, okay? But I'm going to turn the camera real quick. Tell you why. Let's see, I'm just scrolling through the questions. Yeah. Okay. All right. Here we go. Oh, wow. There's 32 people here. Hey, guys. All right. Let's get into it. Let me make sure I'm on camera real quick. You guys don't need that thing at all. Can you guys see it? I'm about to tell you why right now, Rebecca. I'm about to tell you why right now. All right, so check this out. In order to understand how Kip got away with this, why Kip got away with this, you got to understand a guy named Chuck Lucas, okay? This guy, Chuck Lucas, okay, he was at a church in Gainesville called, it's back over here, the Crossroads Church of Christ. I don't know if you guys can see it, but that right there, the Crossroads Church of Christ, that's where Chuck Lucas came from, okay? And this is where Kip McKean got converted, okay? In the Crossroads movement in Gainesville, Florida. Now, you guys need to understand something. When Kip met Chuck, he was 17 years old, okay? Now, I'm going to sit down for this one, because I need to look at y'all for a second. Come around, I gotta look at y'all for this. Alright. Listen to me. I mean it with my whole chest when I say that Kip McKean is the greatest cult leader in American history. But I also want you to understand that at one time, Kip McKean was 17 years old. I want you to think about a 17-year-old boy from Indiana who is away from family, right? He's down here in Gainesville by himself, and he meets this guy, Chuck Lucas, at 17 years old. There is not a 17-year-old boy in the world who is not impressionable. There is not a 17-year-old boy in the world who is away from his family who is not vulnerable. Trust me. This is not the live where we're about to have sympathy or empathy for Kip McKean. But I need you guys to understand that this evil, malicious man at one point was a 17-year-old boy. And at one point, he was taken advantage of, according to witnesses. He was taken advantage of. And he was manipulated. And he was abused. Okay? Because what Chuck taught these guys were a couple things. One, a military style of discipleship. Okay? This is important. Kip's dad, we know, is an admiral, right? But let's keep it a buck. Kip learned discipleship partners, discipling, Bible talks, building a sold-out base of disciples. This is all military style things that he learned from Chuck. Understand, since 1972, Kip McKean, people have been saying that Kip McKean is doing cult-like stuff, cult-like behavior. This is not new to 2004. This is not new to the 80s. This is not new to the 90s, 2010s, or 2020s. Since the 70s, people have been accusing Kip McKean and Chuck Lucas for engaging in cult-like behavior. So one of the things that they figured out is that one of the things that the military does, and just in general, I was a psych major, your brain has no defense against repetition. It doesn't matter what's true. It doesn't matter what's right. It doesn't matter what you believe. your brain has no defense against repetition. Whoever gets to your brain the most wins, period. Right? So one of the controlling tactics a lot of us know about in the ICC, RCOC, or ICOC, ICC, RCW, is that they will call stuff like this, Kip calls stuff like this spiritual pornography. The reason being is because it's pattern interruption. The purpose of discipleship partners, the purpose of going to Bible talk, the purpose of getting people to commit to 3 meetings a body of the week is indoctrination. You're indoctrinated Sunday morning. You're indoctrinated Sunday afternoon at leaders meeting, Tuesday morning staff meeting, devotional, in your D time, in another D time, in a Bible talk, in a Bible study, in another Bible study, in a Friday night devotional, on a day, Sunday morning. Like, you are constantly, it's being reinforced. The principles are constantly being reinforced. It's why they never move past the first principles in any of these churches. It's why he teaches the first principles over and over again. It's a military style tactic. The more I get to your brain, you don't have a defense. It doesn't matter if I'm lying to you. It doesn't matter if I'm telling you the truth. Whoever gets to your brain the most is going to win. So he learned a lot of these type things from Chuck Lucas, okay? Another thing that he learned from Chuck Lucas, this is important. Remember over here when I said, ooh, there we go, right there. The original sin of our movement is homosexuality. This is a quote by the #2 guy that Kip McKean hired when he got to Boston, okay? So let me give you a little background here, okay? Crossroads, ICOC, ICC, RCW. Kip McKean gets baptized in 1972, okay? By Chuck Lucas, okay? 1979, Kip goes to a church in Lexington, eventually renamed to the Boston Church of Christ. That church grows really fast. Eventually they plant other churches. That becomes the ICOC. Now what a lot of people don't know, these two movements, the Crossroads movements and the ICOC, they were much more connected than Kip likes to let on. Kip likes to act like these two were completely separate things. I'm telling you right now, if the ICOC does not get thousands of trained ministers, if Chuck Lucas does not send thousands of trained ministers to the ICOC does not grow. It does not grow, right? But then what ends up happening is in 1986, Chuck Lucas, right? We find out that Chuck Lucas has been basically having homosexual sex with his interns, okay? Of one which Kip McKean was, and which eyewitnesses have said. I've seen and heard Kip McKean confess to these things, okay? So the ICOC grows super fast, but it has all the abusive tactics, all the control, all the manipulation, all the force, money. And by like 2002, 2003, there's many different stories about why it fell. I don't really need to get into all that. Point is, 2002, Kip gets kicked to the curb by these guys, by the ICOC. He then goes to the Portland Church of Christ, or Portland International Church of Christ, and that's where he starts the ICC. That's in 2007, okay? He leaves the ICC, okay? And then last year, 2003, a lot of people start coming forward with lawsuits, okay? A lot of people start coming forward with lawsuits. Kip is forced to resign again, okay? We're going to talk about that too in this next part. And then that's when Jason Dimitri goes and starts to restore churches worldwide. Which, guys, I'm going to let you know right now. One, Jason Dimitri is not talented enough or have the abilities enough to pull something like this off. This is 100% Kip McKean. Even if you go back and read the letter, the open letter to the ICC, it's just constant glazing of Kip. And if you are used to Kip's writing, you understand that Kip glazes himself like nobody else, okay? So boom, okay. So that's the growth really fast of all that, okay? Going back over here, what's the second thing that Chuck Lucas taught Kip? How to hide sin. And how to hide it better than anybody else. What am I talking about? So one of the things I mentioned, I'm going to sit down, get some water real quick. So, one of the things, actually I want to stand up. One of the things that, you want me to do what, baby? Alright, let's take a break. Let's take a break. I gotta go deal with the kid. I'll be right back. Everybody go get water. What's up, baby girl? What do you need? Want your bear? Want your what, Jim? Your bed? What bed? On the bed? Show me. Point to it. What do you want? What do you need me to do? What do you need for your bed, sweetheart? What are you trying to get? You don't need to put that on. What do you know, sweetheart? All right, I'm back. Okay, here we go. I'm back. You got it, baby girl? Yeah. Okay, good job. Okay, back to this. Another thing that Chuck taught Kip how to do is hide sin. So here's what Chuck would do. Chuck will find these vulnerable guys, like Kip McKean, these guys who are away from home, or these guys who were unsuspecting. He would become like a mentor to them, right? He would baptize them. And then when he would have some type of control over them, and they looked up to him, that's when he would reportedly take them down into the basement and take advantage of them. And it was reported that Kip McKean was one of these guys. And it was also reported that one of the things that Chuck, what he eventually got fired for, was because somebody finally came forth in 1986 with proof that Chuck had been basically fucking the campus students, the campus boys. Chuck has to resign in 1986. A lot of people don't know this. Kip continued to pay Chuck Lucas until 1987 from the ICOC. Okay? But the big thing that you want to take away from this, from Kip and Chuck's homosexual relationship, is that Kip, at a very young age... I'm back. Oh, wow, you guys are still here. Oh, man. Jesus, okay. We back. Oh, you guys are left. All right. Here we go. How to hide sin. So Chuck would get these campus guys, get them to like them, be a mentor to them, all these things, and then he would take them down into the basement or to a room, and he would have sex with them, and then he would, guilt them and shame them and teach them how to hide this, right? One of the ways that you hide a sin like this is you're more radical in other areas of your life, right? People also noted that at this time, Kip also seemed to have a little bit of control over Chuck Lucas. Eyewitnesses from this time recall that they would have like this time, what we would call like a good news sharing, or they would come up to like Chuck would be up front, and they would come up front, share something, and then kind of whisper their prayer requests to Chuck, and then go sit back down. It sounds weird even when you read about it. But with Kip, whereas everybody else would just kind of get up, tell Chuck what they wanted, then go sit back down, Kip would ask to hey, can I say like a 3-minute sermon or so? It was like a weekly thing. Kip would get this favoritism from Chuck. People could tell early on that there was a very special bond between Kip in Chuck. Kip got special privileges. Kip, they noticed that Kip was imitating a lot of what Chuck did. I want to remind you guys, Kip McKean was a 17-year-old boy when he first met Chuck Lucas. So when we are dealing with all these lawsuits that have to do with reporting children, understand nobody reported Chuck when what he did to Kip. And a lot of people don't want to talk about it, but there's a very well documented victim to abuser path. It's very well documented. I think they say something like 1/3 of victims end up becoming abusers. So the biggest thing that these guys learned how to do was hide sin. By the way, this was an issue in the ICOC. There was this minister, Mexico City ICC. Mexico City ICC, they found out that he was using the church money to pay for hotels to have sex with men. And so when they found that out, they do what the ICOC, the ICC, and the RCW always do. When they find out about an evangelist's sin, they replace that evangelist. He got sent to, I believe, like Costa Rica or Puerto Rico, something like that. I think it was Costa Rica. And that was that. Right? This is how the ICOC, the ICC has always covered up sin. There was something that came out recently today about Caleb Cohen and Quentin Miller. Keep it a buck, guys. I used to disciple Quentin. Me and Daniel, another guy who was in that ministry, obviously we weren't there in the room with Quentin and Caleb, but it makes sense. I know Quentin. I do. I know him very well. I used to disciple him. You guys might not, a lot of people in the RWC and ICC, they don't know about Caleb Cohen's sin. They don't know that he was going to massage parlors and getting happy endings. They don't know that he cheated on his wife with a man. They don't know these things because one thing that Kip is good at. A lot of you guys, if you didn't hear the name Chuck Lucas before, you will probably never think that Kip is a closeted homosexual, was a closeted homosexual. By the way, I'm a non-Christian. I don't care, right? My baby mama's bi. Like, I don't care. Like, that's the Christian thing that y'all got to deal with, right? But the reason why this part is so important is because when you guys are looking at these lawsuits, people are coming forward with stories from the 90s, stories from the 80s, stories from the 2000s, and stories from everything. The question that you have to ask is, why has no one been able to stop Kip? Because this is one of the ways that they get people. People go, hey man, if all this is true, if we're a cult and we've done this, why has nobody stopped us? Why is nobody, right? And I'm going to break that down very simple for everybody too. That's in green. I don't know if you guys can read that. Let me get through. Make sure you guys can read that. I know there's a little thing on there. Okay. Why has nobody been able to stop Kip? Number one, Kip surrounds himself with himself. Okay? This is why I tell you guys, the world sector leaders, the shepherds, it is not possible for these guys to be biblical Christians, and Kip continues to get in deep, deep sin. When we are talking about a man who grooms young women now, right? He grooms young women, get them to be his secretary, get the seen as a father in the faith, like he's called this man as father in the faith. There's a reason why that term gets thrown around. That was a term that Chuck Lucas gave to Kip. His father in the faith took advantage of him. So, of course he takes advantage of his intern. Of course he takes advantage of his secretary. Of course, this is what fathers in the faith do to a 17-year-old boy whose brain is still developing. That's what people don't understand. Yes, Kip is a horrible, evil, nasty person, but the psychology of this is his father in the faith was doing all kind of things to him that he plans to take to the grave. Other people have come forward and said, hey man, this was the sin that destroyed the movement because it taught men how to hide sin. Men, have you ever noticed the weird purity standards in the ICC, ICOC? Oh, we didn't kiss to our wedding day. Okay. What? I guess that's pure, I guess. Right? Bro, I remember having to apologize to a group of teens because me and my ex-wife held hands. It's like you have all these super, super weird purity standards. You can't hold hands. You can't kiss. You can't. It's like, oh, the sisters need to watch how they dress because they might tempt the men. And it's like, fam, if you as a man can't control your thought around women, that has nothing to do with the women. That has nothing to do with the women. That is you. Right? But they have all these weird purity standards in the ICOC and the ICC because one of the ways you hide sin is being radical, like overly radical in other areas. Okay? So number one, Kip is surrounding people like him. Kip is surrounding people who have deep, dark secrets, number one, that he can use against them. That's one. Number two, I've been saying this for all week. Kip McKean is not a Christian. I don't think he's ever been a Christian. Don't sit here and tell me the 17-year-old boy who was engaging in homosexual sex actually became a Christian. That's not what happened. It's not possible to get baptized, then engage in homosexual sex and not have some type of repentance, restoration, or anything. You may say, well, he's not engaged in that behavior anymore. Yeah, but he then engaged in manipulation tactics, abusive tactics, coercion, all these things. Somebody show me at what point of Kip McKean's walk were people not accusing him of being abusive. Show me at what point. Show me at what point from 17 till now where the allegations of abuse did not surround this man, either to him or him doing it. At no point since 1972, there has not been a single year of existence since 1972 that Kip McKean has not faced some type of abuse allegations. Okay? One, he surrounds himself with people like him, people who have secrets, people who are willing to do things. I say this all the time. In the ICOC and the ICC, you're either a tool or a fool. You're either a fool who got, and we all got. You're either a fool who got, and you were there with your whole heart trying to give it your best, or you were a tool. Or you figured out really quickly, wait a second. I see the game here. I see what's going on. I can just get in leadership, and if I do this, and I don't even need to be a good Christian. I just need to buddy up to this guy. Bro, they flat out told me that. They flat out told me, bro, the way into ministry is by becoming somebody's right hand. It had nothing to do with baptism. It had nothing to do with, these are things that Tim Kernan literally taught me. He tried to teach me, and I resisted it because I was like, I'm still baptized people, bro. Like, that's what I do. But it's one of these things where Kip's going to surround people like him. I'm actually going to come back to this one. The Christians are cowards. I want to get back to this in a second. But I want to talk about number 3 real quick, okay? I want to talk about number 3. Because I want to break something down. Yep, handlers and gatekeepers. I want to break something down for people real quick. We got all this, right? Okay, I want to break something down. Because this kicks people's butt a lot. Where's my... Oh, wait a second. Oh, because I'm too loud. Okay. Did you grab the glass cleaner? No. I thought I put it down right here. No. I hope I didn't put it in her room, did I? Maybe I'll put it up. Yeah, hopefully I did. Okay, I'll see you in the morning, baby. Bye. All right, baby's going to sleep. Baby's going to sleep. We can go, okay? We still here? Wow, it's still 28 people. All right, here we go. I want to show you guys something because this is going to be really important to understand how we got here, okay? Because it's not as simple. Listen, Christians, I'm going to give you a warning. In a second, I'm going to go mask off, okay? In a second, it's going to get nuts because I can't, well, for you guys, because I can't talk about this stuff without being authentic. And I can't talk about this stuff without being passionate because so many children, so many women, so many men have been abused. They've lost years of their life. They went places they would never go. They are still carrying the trauma. Some of them have committed suicide because of Kip McKean's abusive tactics that he learned from Chuck Lucas. So let me help you guys understand where everybody messes up. All right, here's the issue. And Christians, this is y'all fault. Christians want you to believe that God is always in control of everything, and if you pray, and if you just live the right way, it'll all get better. Christians, since 1972, it hasn't got better. Either you guys suck at praying, or there's something else at play here. Objectively speaking. Or, this is the other thing, God's not working. I know that sounds harsh. I know that is a shock to a lot of Christians. And we're going to get to that in a second. But you cannot talk about why Kip McKean has been able to get away with this stuff without talking about the legal system. You can't do it. It's not possible. Okay? Because at the bottom line, Christians are not going to live out Matthew 18:6 and take this one who has caused little ones to stumble, tie a millstone around their neck, and throw them in the sea. Christians aren't going to do that. I don't see Christians living out the scriptures like that. I don't see Christians taking up the cause for the defenseless like the Bible calls them to. That's not happening. Christians can feel however you want to feel about it. Too many then talk about the lawsuits. Okay? Innocent until proven guilty. Here's the thing. The burden is on the accuser to prove guilt, not the accused. Okay? The burden is on the accuser. May I ask you a question? What if the accuser is a child? Can a child prove guilt? Legally speaking, children are not allowed to file complaints. Children cannot take civil action in the United States, in most jurisdictions. Now, I have a case right now in the Ninth Circuit Court concerning my daughter. I believe it's 24-789 in the Ninth Circuit Court. If I win my appeal, parents will be able to represent their children pro se. Okay? Why is that important? If a child can't prove guilt, if a child can't file a motion or pleading themselves, right? Me and you as adults, if we get abused or something, whatever happens, if push came to shove, we could hop on the internet, get on YouTube, and start trying to figure out the legal system. Children do not have that option. The only way for a child to prove guilt is to have a wealthy parent. Or pro bono, which means you get a lawyer for free. There's a reason why many people in the ICOC, ICC are black and brown. There's a reason for it. There's a reason why Kip McKean wants to get to the urban cities. There's a reason why Kit McKean wants to get young people who will invest in the movement, have their children in the movement, and their income be tied to the movement. One of the biggest ways you hide sin is you give the victim an incentive not to talk about the sin. What if this child's parents works for the church? This child's parents works for the church. What happens if this parents tries to sue the church? They ain't got a job. Child ain't got a roof over their head. Child can't prove guilt. Child doesn't have a wealthy parent. Guess what? Never proven guilty. Here's another one. What if a person has a disability? Can they prove guilt? What if you have a mental or physical disability? What if you're autistic? What if you have social anxiety? What if you're in a wheelchair? What if the trauma from the abuse prevents you? What if you have a disability? Can you prove guilt? No. Why is this important? Because what this means is the accuser or the accused, right? Or in this sense, the alleged abuser is innocent until the child or the person with the disability can prove guilt. Same thing. Only thing you can do is get a lawyer. It's expensive. Right? What about this one? What if the person's elderly? Can an elderly person prove guilt? This person, the best of their mental faculties are diminishing. The best earning days are behind them. What happens with these guys if they get abused? Right? They have to prove guilt. For a child, for a person that's disabled, and for a person that's elderly, the only way for them to get justice is money. What happens if you're given 77 weeks of tithes in 52 weeks? You gonna have the money to fight this? You gonna have the money if your child gets abused in Kids Kingdom? You gonna have the money for this if you given 77 tithes in 52 weeks? I told y'all, this gets deep. This gets dark. And this is my problem with Christians. This is my problem with people who claim to be disciples, see this bullshit going on, and then want to judge me for cussing. Y'all don't have the balls to talk about this shit. Don't come at me. Don't come at me. Y'all have never broken it down like this. And y'all have known this for decades. Why do you think people today are still suing people in the ICOC? Because you guys who claim to be Christians, you're cowards. These are defenseless people. Your Bible is very clear. Your God is very clear about how he feels about coming to the aid of defenseless people. You people who don't speak up, who call yourselves disciples, you people who don't speak up, who call yourself Jesus followers, you're cowards. You're cowards. You're cowards or you're complicit. I know you don't like that, and I know you don't like that coming from a non-Christian, but those children didn't enjoy being raped. Sorry. Those children did not enjoy being abused. Those children did not enjoy going to a parent, going to somebody, and then having that stuff covered up. You can't talk about, and this is the problem with Christians. Y'all want to keep everything in a spiritual realm. You can't talk about why Kit McKean got away with this if you don't talk about the legal system. What's gotten traction? What's gotten Kit McKean out of this? People leveraging the legal system. When you have people given 77 weeks of tithes in 52 weeks, they can't afford attorneys. It don't matter what you do to them. They can't prove anything. People don't know the legal system, and the legal system is too complex, and the legal system is too expensive. These are perpetual victims. What if they're a campus student? What if they're a campus student away from home? Can they prove guilt? Do they know enough about do you see now? Do you understand why I just don't tolerate Christians coming at me for cursing? When this stuff is happening in y'all churches, ICOC wants to act like this is all behind them. Fuck them, bro. Look at decades. This was standard. That's standard. 77 weeks of tithes in 52 weeks. I'm not trying to hear anything y'all got to say about God right now, because y'all have not done anything about Kip McKean. Y'all don't have the courage to tell the stories. Y'all don't have the courage to tell what really happened down there in Gainesville. I got to go digging. I got to go find podcasts. I got to do all these things because the Christians don't have the courage to do it. Okay? Now, one more level to this, one more layer of this, and then we'll go. Or maybe we'll do questions. And this one's actually going to speak to... This one is actually going to speak to the deeper, more spiritual, like the spiritual reason, where I do think Jesus gets it right, and I do think this is objectively true, but it's very simple, okay? At least I'm going to make it simple. All right, here we go. Before you accept after C? Yeah, I did that right. Listen, at the end of the day, it don't matter what's true. It don't matter if Kip McKean has, if the original sin of the movement is covering up the homosexual sin of the early crossroad ministers. It don't matter. It don't matter if Kip McKean is the greatest cult leader in American history. It don't matter. It don't matter if that's true. It doesn't even matter if the ICC or ICOC, if all these places were the movement of God. None of that matters. It doesn't matter what's true. It only matters what people believe. So when I told you earlier that military-style discipleship that's constantly getting to your brain and you got no defense against, there's a reason why they got to focus on the mission. Truth is irrelevant. If people believe there will be retaliation, they won't speak up. If people believe that they're going to be judged, they won't speak up. If people believe that they won't get justice, they won't come forward. Whatever people believe, that's all that matters. That's all that matters at the end of the day. So when I tell people to get on here, share your story, talk about it. Talk about your experience. You don't got to be as bold, as rash, and brash as I am. You can talk about it from your family's experience. But what do you believe about Kip McKean? Enough of y'all don't believe he's the greatest cult leader in American history. Enough of y'all do not believe that the damage that this man has done over the course of 45 years, oh, God worked through that. That, God still you? Nigga. This is why people don't respect disciples. It's why people don't respect the ICOC today. It's why people don't respect Christians. My family has we have a member of our family who's not here with us, right? Someone close to us lost a child, stillbirth. When I tell you, it is so infuriating for that person and even for myself. So when that person is grieving over the loss of their own flesh and blood, that they're never going to be able to create memories with, that they're never going to be able to take on a walk, that they're never going to be able to change diapers, that they're never going to be able to go to school with, when a person is grieving something tragic, and somebody steps in and goes, God's got a plan. I'm sorry, dog. Nobody asked God's plan. The kids who got raped in the ICOC, the people who got manipulated out of their money, the people who gave up their youth, the people who moved places that they didn't want to move to, the people who were traumatized, that was part of God's plan. The issue with Christians and Christianity is y'all life don't match y'all doctrine. They're playing the legal game. This is why I tell people, stop talking to people like they're Christians until they show you they live out Christianity. They don't protect children, and they don't speak up when sin is involved. This is objectively true. Stop letting them make you feel bad because you believe what they still believe. You still believe that if you're not a part of that group, something's wrong with you. You still believe that if you don't do things their way and do things... Listen, y'all life don't match y'all doctrine. Y'all don't take up for the kids. Y'all don't come out and say it. What evangelist in the ICC, in the ICOC, in the Crossroads movement in 45 plus years has ever got online and says, here's my church budget for 2 years. Here's what we did financially for 2 years. Who's come out and gone, hey man, when I was in the church, they embezzled $10,000+. Who's doing that? This is why we can't get, this is why he gets away with it. This is why he gets away with it. Because the people who know shit are too coward to say shit. This is why they don't talk to people like me. They don't talk to people like me because I'm going to persecute them. Or they don't talk to people like me because I'm not a credible source. They talk to people like me because not only am I going to persecute them, I'm going to stand on business when I persecute them. I persecute people who protect child abusers. Period. I don't care if you were in my wedding. I don't care if we were best friends in the ICOC. I don't care if you're Kip. I don't care if you're Michael Williamson. I don't care if you're Tim Kernan. I don't care if you're Jason Dimitri. I persecute people who protect child abusers. That's what I do. I don't care what they think of it, because they are the people protecting the child abusers. It only matters what you believe in all this. If you believe that, oh, God is going to work through them, yeah, you're not going to say anything. You're not going to say anything. You're not going to speak up. People are not speaking up. This man has wreaked havoc for 4 decades. Stop saying it was the movement of God, bro. Y'all want to look me in my eye and tell me that the movement of God cannot forcefully advance without all these lawsuits? That's what y'all telling me? Y'all keep showing me Proverbs 18, one party seems right to another comes forward and cross-examine me, but don't nobody want to step up and cross-examine me. Stop using scriptures you're not living out. That don't work over here, bro. I know your secrets. I was an evangelist, dog. I know your secrets. And I'm not them bitch-ass niggas in the world sector leader, dog. I will call it out. I will call it out. Because I'm going to tell you one thing that I know about manipulators and abusers, and I'm going to give y'all this, and then I'm going to end it or open up for questions or whatever, because this is the thing that the master manipulator, that all those people who are covering for Kip, all those people who are covering for all those pedophiles and child abusers, all those people who are covering up for them, this is what they don't want you to know. Watch this. Remember I said it only matters what you believe? Where my napkin go? Watch this. Let's go back to innocent till proven guilty. Let's go back there for a second. Innocent until proven guilty. Watch this. The burden of proof is on the accuser, right? By the way, this is only in the court of law. Court of public opinion, I can say whatever the fuck I want to about Kip. Whatever I want to. Unless Kip want to drag me into the courtroom. In which case, he becomes the accuser. The burden is not on me to prove that what I'm saying is not true. So if I get on live and say Chuck Lucas used to play with Kip McKean's booty hole when he was in college, if he wants to drag me for defamation, he becomes the accuser. I don't have to prove that. there are certain things that he has to prove for defamation. But a lot of people don't know this. Here's how the legal process works. You have a complaint. Generally, lawyers, y'all know it's more complicated than this. You have a complaint, you have an answer, and you guys who are suing, you know this. After the answer, there usually becomes a discovery phase. And then trial, maybe after discovery phase, there's some more litigation, but eventually a trial, and then a verdict, okay? Yes, lawyers, y'all know this is a much more complicated process. If I come out on live and say, yo, Chuck D. Lucas, he used to touch Kip McKean. That's what I heard. I heard he used to touch Kip McKean. Witnesses came forward, said him and Kip used to have homosexual sex. And one of the things that Chuck taught Kip and a lot of these guys is how to hide their homosexual sin. I can say that all day in the court of public opinion. If they want to drag me into the court of law, they become the accuser, right? So they'll file a complaint accusing me of defamation. I'll answer it. What the average citizen don't know is this right here is what Kip McKean has avoided for 45 years. And you guys who are suing, you know this. Y'all know this. This part right here, because here's the thing. If I'm taking this on information and belief, that witnesses said that this happened to Kip and Kip was engaging in homosexual sex, and that's the original sin of the movement, and that's why, all these guys learn how to hide sin, so this is why they're really good at covering up the abuse of children. Guess what? Oh, we get a discovery phase, my boy. We get a discovery phase. And I can subpoena exactly who I heard it from. I can use court documents. I can subpoena people who I think might know something about Chuck and Kip. Kip McKean does not want to go in court and talk about Chuck Lucas, bro. That means we can subpoena anybody from the Crossroads Church, anybody from the ICOC, anybody from the ICC, anybody who knows anything about Kip and Chuck or anything I talked about tonight. Them niggas don't want that. He don't want discovery. Discovery is coming into the light. So when I tell y'all to get online and share y'all's story, I'm trying to help y'all get out of this fear. I'm trying to help y'all get out of this belief that this nigga got any power, bro. Kip McKean don't have no power over you. The only power Kip, Raul, Tim, Jason have over you is the power you give them. They don't want to come into the light, bro. Caleb Cohen don't want to be drugged into the courtroom to talk about what him and Quentin did. He don't want to be drugged into the courtroom. That's why I tell y'all, share y'all story. Share y'all story. They don't have money. And they don't want to come into the light anyway. These are things they don't want to talk about. So this is why I'm looking at all you ministers in the ICOC, all you former ministers and evangelists that left the ICOC, Crossroad movement, and all this. Why aren't y'all saying anything? Because you're complicit in helping child abusers. That's what the child feels. That's what the kingdom kid. Y'all called us kingdom kids? I was a kingdom kid. Shouldn't my mom have known if somebody is in kingdom kids with a hard dick? I know that sounds vulgar, but that's the problem. Christians don't want to talk about this stuff in the light. Y'all don't want to think about the details. Because y'all have never had a kid that happened to. I had a kid that was abused. I have a nonverbal autistic daughter. Y'all don't know what that's like. Y'all don't know what it's like to have someone take advantage of your child. So when I look at you guys who call yourself ministers and call yourself Christians and call yourself disciples, and you know shit about this guy. You got dirt on this guy. You got receipts on this guy. And you ain't saying shit because he got receipts on you? Man, if you don't grow some fucking balls, bro. Grow some balls. I don't know what God you serve. I don't know what God you're going to pray to tomorrow when you have your quiet time. But if you got receipts on this man after 40 years and you ain't shared it, at what point are parents allowed to be angry? At what point are the people who are hurt? At what point are the 2 million people who've come in contact with this group, who have changed their lives, who gave you their youth, who gave you 77 weeks worth of tithes on 52 weeks, year after year after year after year? What about those? At what point? Y'all keep saying forgive, forgive, forgive. Show me a Kip McKean apology. Show me. I can't forgive a person who doesn't believe that they did anything wrong. Why should I forgive these evangelists from the ICOC who know things and who who don't believe they're doing anything wrong? They don't believe they're doing anything wrong. This is what I'm saying. If I read the Bible and look at these guys' life, don't invite me to church, bro. I'm literate. I can read the Bible and go, y'all don't live this out. Y'all want to go toe-to-toe scripture for scripture, I'm with it. But at what point do people care about children? At what point do people care that these kingdom kids got abused? At what point? Y'all prayers ain't working. Leave them alone, it'll get better. It didn't get better. It didn't get better. All that bullshit y'all said in the 80s, all that bullshit y'all said in the 90s, the 2000s, it didn't get better. It didn't get better. Your prayers didn't work. Objectively speaking. Objectively speaking. I know you don't like that. I know you don't like to hear that. And I know you guys think I'm going off. And I know you guys think I'm out of control. And I know you guys think I'm emotional because I'm close. Yes, yes, yes. That's called being a human being, guys. And I'm out of the ICC. You can't shame me for having emotions. You can't shame me for having passion. You can't shame me for having a strong opinion. You can't do it. I don't see a God in the Bible who does not take care of the children. I don't see it. I don't see a God of the Bible whose people face sexual allegations. This is why when they tell you it's persecution, it's BS. Persecution in the first century was losing your home. Persecution in the first century was you were ran out of town. Persecution was not they made rumors about sexual assault allegations. Persecution wasn't they asked members of the church to come to court to defend themselves for these claims. So that's all a complaint is. All the complaint is saying, bro, I got some claims against you, come answer for it. That's all it is. All the complaint is, all the lawsuit is just you saying, hey, we can't work this out here, so we got to come to the court. That wasn't persecution in the first century. The two don't equate. Persecution, Jesus was persecuted by the religious people. He was killed by the religious people. Other Christians don't care about the ICOC, ICC. They don't care about they're a blip. They're insignificant in the terms of the grand scheme of things of Christianity. So this isn't persecution. This is the heart of the people you've abused over the years. This is the unfiltered raw emotion of the people that you did not let have emotions for decades. This is what this is. This is what this is. This is what I'm telling you guys. And one thing that I'm starting here, I'll end on this, but this is what I'm asking everybody to do. So I'm asking everybody to do. We already hijacked their I Love My Church ICC hashtag. We already hijacked their Book of Acts tag. Yes, I am intentionally trying to shut these guys down for good because quite frankly, I don't think the disciples of Jesus are going to get it done. I don't think you guys in the ICC or the RCW have the backbone to actually have conviction. I think that even if you wanted to have conviction, you don't know how to be a Christian outside of Kip's control. Outside of Kip's theology, your God is not big enough. Your God is not great enough. Your faith is not great enough to be a Christian outside of the ICC, outside of this place of abuse. You don't have what it takes. So what I'm asking people to do is share your experience. Every experience is not going to be sexual assault. Every experience is not going to be, gross manipulation and abuse. But I genuinely believe there are 2 million people out there who have been affected by these people. And at the end of the day, when it comes down to the Christians, they're in denial about this. This is what the disciples of Jesus are in denial about. I'm not trying to start a war with the disciples of Jesus. I'm just calling it like I see it. I was talking with somebody today. It's like, y'all can say whatever y'all want to about me now 8 years later. One thing everybody in the ICC know, Gabe Reed stands on business. Gabe Reed was the guy when they didn't want to put me in the ministry. I came in with a raffle ticket, said I'm going to put myself in the ministry. Gabe Reed was the one they called when Tim Kearney needed a song leader, and when Jeremy Chiramella needed a campus leader, and when Vic needed they know I stand on business and I stand on what I believe. And so when I'm not trying to start no beef with you guys, I just don't think anybody in the ICOC, ICC, or RCW got convictions. I genuinely don't believe that. And the reason why y'all don't have convictions is because y'all don't want to accept this. This guy, this closeted homosexual guy who has been manipulating and abusing people for decades, y'all don't want to admit that he got you. Y'all don't want to admit it's hard for it to reconcile in your brain that you learned to love God from somebody like that. You're not ready for deconstruction. So until you're ready for deconstruction, us non-Christians have to save the children because y'all won't. It's just that simple. I'm not interested in how you feel about that. I'm not interested in what stupid ass sermon point you're going to make it to on Wednesday or Tuesday staff meeting. I don't care. I don't care. Because when y'all wake up in the morning, y'all are still going to have receipts on Kit McKean. You guys are still going to have secrets about Kit McKean. You're still going to have secrets on other people, and you're not going to tell them. So cool. When all these people drag you in here, no mercy. Every email, every document, everything. The non-Christians have to go use the legal system because the Christians don't know how to use their God to deal with Kit McKean. So what I'm asking people to do is share this story, share your story of whether it was abuse, trauma. You don't have to give names. You can do it as much as you want, as little as you want. But we got God. We got God. And after doing the deconstruction, after understanding, after researching all this, after going through all the data, everything, all the spiritual pornography, bro, we got God. We got God. Kit McKean's a master manipulator, and he got us. Now, some of us, we did learn to love God. We did fall in love. We did meet the love of our lives. But don't let your positive experience be the voice for the thousands and the millions who have had a negative experience. This is the greatest cult leader in American history. Nobody has impacted more people than Kit McKean. And if y'all don't share y'all story, he's not going to go down as the greatest cult leader of all time. He's going to die as being one of the most influential Christian leaders in American history. That is going to be Kit McKean's legacy. He is going to go down as one of the most influential people in American history. And a lot of you guys know that's not who he is. And I think that's fucked up. I think that's messed up that you guys who can judge us fallaways, who can judge us non-Christians, y'all ain't got the courage to tell the world the truth about that guy. But y'all want to tell us the truth about Jesus? Not trying to hear it, bro. Just not trying to hear it. So, I'm asking people to share your story, use this hashtag, WeGotGot. Because at the end of the day, bro, life goes on. You can be bitter at this guy for the rest of your life. You can be angry. You can be mad. Or you can accept the truth and go, I got God, man. I gave him like 8 years of my life. I got God. But fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, you got me fucked up. You got me fucked up, Kip. So that's what I wanted to share tonight. I want to show you guys that the impact of these groups, the impact of these cults has been far-reaching. And because the Christians, the evangelists, the shepherds, the people who are helping cover up everything, the people who don't have the courage to talk about the truth of what happens in the ICOC and ICC, because of these people, it's just been allowed to run rampant. And I'm telling you guys, as someone who's been trained by Kip McKean, and someone who understands how he builds ministry, I can tell you from the outside looking in, if we all come together, this is it. He will get the legacy that he deserves, which is the greatest cult leader in American history. Nobody has damaged more people through the means of a cult than Kip McKean. Find him. Find someone in American history who has. You'll be hard pressed. You will be hard pressed to find someone who has impacted more people with a cult than Kip McKean. So, share your story. We got God. There's a lot of us out there. So don't feel bad if you got God. So, I will, if you guys got questions. Oh, there's still 33 people here. Jeez. Yeah, life does go on, Pam. Yeah, man. Any questions? I just think it's sick, bro. I hope you guys screen recorded this. I hope you guys, go back to it, take notes. I really do believe that if people actually see the impact that this cult has had on people, I think if people see the impact of what's happened, it'll really start connecting. It'll really start connecting with people. I just think it doesn't connect right now because people don't understand about the real truth. Can you explain real quick? He was trained. So Jason Demetri. People say, why do we persecute or criticize Jason Demetri? Because guys, Jason Demetri is the front man for Kip McKean. I'm telling you, Jason Demetri is the front man for Kip McKean. If you go read many of the RWC documents and then you go compare it to something Kip wrote, it's almost the same. It's almost the same. So Jason Demetri is just the front man for Kip McKean right now. They know, I know that, and they don't want other people to know that. They're trying to figure out a way to if they're going to ingrain Kip or if Kip is just going to play the backfield. That's what they're trying to figure out right now. Kip is too arrogant and prideful and selfish not to be the man. But Jason has got kind of a big head over the years, so it's going to be interesting. Like sometimes, bro, once you accept you got, sometimes you can just look at this shit like entertainment, bro. You just look at it like entertainment. Like these are knuckleheads running around somewhat entertainment. You got to get a balance in there. Because like I said, bro, you can't let this thing control your life. You have to move on, right? This is why I want different people to share the story, not just me, and in their own ways, because a lot of people, they're too self-righteous to hear from a fall away. They're too self-righteous because they just think that, he's just persecuting. It's like, yes, bro, yes, I'm persecuting. We got God. I'd rather live the harsh truth, save my pride, the amount of people who've reached out. Yeah. Guys, to help you guys understand how powerful talking is, a week ago I had 80, maybe 100 friends on Facebook. 100 people have reached out to me. I haven't gone after looking, except for a few people I knew. But yeah, I mean, it's impactful, bro. My friends list has doubled. These videos are reaching
thousands of people quicker, faster than anyone in the ICC can. Yeah. Well, I have first gen. Yep, I was part of the first ever ICCM class. It's all BS. It's BS. It's not a real degree. You basically learn how to. You don't learn anything. I'm sorry. I'm gonna be honest, bro. You read some books. They do their best to try to make it seem like you're learning something. You're not learning anything. You're just reading some books that Kip's like. It's more. Everything Kip does is for the purpose of indoctrination. The ICCM, the purpose of... Think about it. Think about it, guys. You can't use your degree anywhere. So why are you going to this college? The knowledge you learn in these classes, you can't use anywhere else. The purpose of the ICCM is purely for indoctrination. There's nothing else. Yeah, Vic, I love you, Vic, bro. I love you too, Vic. Yeah, man, you read some of these RCW letters and it's just like, you did it. No, you did it. They did this. Da-da-da. The other way that you know is Kip, because what Kip... this is what I'm saying, bro. Y'all got to come forward. Go read that open letter to the RW, to the ICC, and look at how much Kip just throws everybody under the bus. Tim, Raul, John. He threw all these people under the bus, and nobody stops and goes, wait a second, bro. You were the leader of the movement, dog. Why didn't you stop him? Right? Like, why didn't you stop? It's one of these things where it's like, fam, this is why I'm saying, like, to all you old heads who know stuff from back then, he's been bad-mouthing you guys forever. Y'all do this dumb, like, moral thing, this high moral ground where it's like, I'm not going to stoop to his level. Bro, this is about belief, dog. Do you want people to know the truth or not? This is my saying, bro. Like, don't come over here trying to, like, tell me something wrong with my life. Tell me that there's sin in my life and not truth in my life. And it's like, fam, like, I respect you if you walked it. You know, the men who do walk it, they can talk to me, you know, and we can talk about it. But if, like, y'all know things and y'all just, no, bro. Yeah, it is. The ICCM is just intense thought control and indoctrination. There is no other purpose for the ICCM. Purely indoctrination. You can't do anything with the ICCM education outside the ICC. It's not possible. It's literally for indoctrination. That's it. There's no other purpose. They can make up words to make it sound like there's a purpose, but there's not. There's just not. Yeah. He keeps, like, when you read it, you can tell it's Kip, bro. Like, people who've been around and people who've seen, like, we can see it, bro. It's you, dog. It's you, man. But that hashtag we got, man, whenever you're ready, right? And that's the other thing. Like, I'm not forcing people to speak out. I'm trying to help y'all understand that. I'm trying to help y'all understand how he thinks. That's what I'm trying to help y'all with. I'm trying to help y'all understand how the manipulator thinks, right? That's a very good point, Pam. Because that's something I don't think about, because I was a part of the first ICCM group, and we didn't pay. Like, almost all of us got scholarships. A few people paid. I was like, oh, they made you pay? But yeah, it's another way to bring in money, because these guys are bleeding money, bro. They're bleeding money. Like, if this is why, like, I tell people, like, even these lawsuits, they're not asking for, like, millions of dollars, right? Because they know that they don't have money. They don't have money, bro. This is what I'm saying. Y'all really don't have anything to be afraid of. Really don't have anything to be afraid of. And when it comes to speaking out, telling your story, there's nothing there. There's nothing there. Yeah, when I was coming on the hill, while we liked to watch there in headlights, she said, didn't it bring up forgiving sin? That's when I knew she was a handler and left. Yeah, man. Yeah, that was the original sin of all these movement. It was the fact that all these men were abused by Chuck Lucas, and then they went out to churches, I think in their own guilt and shame, and that's why they're good at covering it up, because a lot of them are covering up things for themselves every day, right? It's like I'm outside now. Like I'm not a Christian. I'm not, in the ICC. So I'm not as judgmental as when it comes to people living their life. Like I don't care if you're not having sex with me. I don't really care who you're having sex with. Like that's you and God, bro. Yep. Drop them scriptures, Vic. Oh, the scholarships are now paid for the church. That's nuts. That's kind of crazy to be that, like, which is crazy because when you think about it, they're just funneling money back into themselves if they're just paying the scholarships with the church budget. What's Kip's status? Kip's status is Vic said if you share your story, hit him up if they come after you. But we all know they won't come after you. They don't have the money to. And even if they did have the money, they don't want discovery, right? A lot of people don't understand discovery, and I don't fully understand discovery because I'm not a lawyer, but you have a lot of latitude in discovery. So, for instance, there's something called requests for admissions, right? And what requests for admissions are is that you ask them to admit or deny something. And in most jurisdictions, they have 30 days, and if they don't reply in 30 days, then it's the court has to take it as like an undisputable fact. So for instance, if they sued you or whatever, and you sent in a request for admissions, and let's say one of the admissions were like, hey, admit that the ICC is a cult. And let's say that they don't respond to that, by law, it is now a legal fact that it's a cult. So they don't want to deal with that because if they deny, if you get a good lawyer, they know how to ask these questions in such a way that can trip them up. Not only trip them up, but like just get you way further, So, Patricia Velasco lawsuit. I told her a lot about Chuck. Whoever else, who's that? Yeah. Yep, from an evidentiary perspective. Yep, and there's a lot of latitude. A good lawyer is going to try to restrict the discovery, this and that, but they don't even want to go through the process, bro. They don't even want to go through the process. No, I didn't see your question, Ruthie. Say it again. Someone else said something. Yeah, bro. Patricia Velasco. Yeah, prior bad ads are typically excluded, but there's like other, and that's why this is why I kind of hate the legal system because it's too complicated for the average person. The average person can't navigate the court. And so like the justice system, I didn't get too much into this tonight, but the justice system is pretty much an elitist playground because if you don't have the money, you can't get into court. And even if you can't get into court, the laws are so complex and complicated, you don't know what to do. So, it's one of these things where, it's very complicated. Can you explain how they use young ministers for the dirty work? It's a business model. What dirty work specifically? Because there's a lot of dirty work. There's a lot of dirty work. And here's the thing about young ministers, right? If you have guys like me, Colton, Caesar, like I say this, we're going to say amen up to a point. After a certain point, we're going to go, something ain't right. Something ain't right. So I can't think of anything where like they made me or they wanted me to do like something like blatantly illegal. Like literally the first phone call I got in ministry was the phone call of them letting me know they were taking money out of the bank. And like, I don't know anything about that. And I'm a ride or die type of guy. So it's like, I thought I was going to Eugene with a full bank account. They're like, no, you got Eugene, you're not going to have that much money. Whatever, dude. I'll baptize. I'm not worried about it. So yeah, if you have a public defender, you're screwed. Right, young minister transferring money in and out when they ask stuff like that. One of the main purpose of young ministers is control. It's just easier to control a 24-year-old minister than a 34-year-old minister, right? It's easy to control a young married couple that met in the church, got married in the church, got trained in the church, went into the ministry in the church. They're just easier to control. You almost have to like blackmail older Christians. You almost have to. Because they'll, at least the ones with spines, will just be like, no, I'm not doing that. Right? This is one of the reasons why, like, there's so much rampant BS in amongst the world sector leaders group. Like that video by Michael Williamson today. Like, man, what an idiot, bro. Like, number one, it's just disgusting, dog. It's just disgusting. Like, why are you even sharing that story? Like, if you go back and look at the clip of Michael Williams' video, like, the story didn't even fit in with the scripture. It didn't fit in with the point. It's just like, you literally just shared it just to shame somebody. Like, there's no point, purpose to any of it. Like, you literally did it. And it's funny because it's like, fam, okay. I feel like, bro, here's how I feel. Even as a disciple, bro, this is when I knew the church was getting like, or like when it was busting at the seams. When I first came into the ICC, like 2008, we still had a lot of people from like the ICOC. 2000, I would say 2010 to 2000, maybe 2011 to probably like 2013 to 14. We went through like that's when like the 5 core convictions came. Like they were hardcore. Like we got to be separate from the ICOC and everything. And so we had a lot of remnant, as Kip used to call it, literally just people with convictions, leave the church at that time. And one of the reasons is because these older Christians would just have convictions. Right? They would just have convictions. And so it's just easier to control younger Christians. Yeah, man, that Mike Williamson joint is disgusting, dog. Because it's one of these things where it was like, why did you even share that? Yeah, he seemed like he was like, he bothered me 4 o'clock in the morning, this girl getting raped. It's like, bro, like, here's my thing, bro. Oh, that's what I was going to say. This is when I knew like the ICC was like, it was bursting at the cracks. There was a point, and Pam, you probably remember this too, even in Chicago and different places. Like, there were times where, like, you would hear false doctrine, and like, you know how like when we're listening to like a sermon, everybody, particularly in the ICC, we're like, hey man, bro, kick us in the face, you got it, bro. There was a time point in the ICC where like, if someone got up there and said something weird, or something that was like I vividly remember like giving like brothers looks, like somebody say something from the pulpit and then you just turn, like maybe you looking at Vic. I know me and Vic have made eye contact when somebody has like said something weird. But I was thinking like, bro, imagine being in that park service and hearing your minister talk like that. It's like, wait, that's the point you wanted me to... The point you wanted me to get is that God... And here's the crazy part, bro. It wasn't like and there's like no like, oh, sexual assault's bad. But this girl was like gamed. Like she was teamed up on, bro. Like, it's just like, fam... Like, nothing in you even goes like, I need to approach this with like delicate hands or something. Like nothing in Michael Williamson's head goes, okay, even if I share this story, I need to make sure that like I do it with tact and I don't. No. He's just like, nope, this is just the perfect time to use an example to fearmonger people. It's like, what? That's how you want people to believe that God will do that to somebody just to get them to come to your church? That's weird. Like, nothing in him goes like, nah, that ain't gonna give, like, that doesn't give God a good name. That does not give God a good name. It's just, but when people have created an idol in their head, and their idol is the movement, and the idol is evangelizing and glory, it's one of these things where it's like people will turn into Simone Biles trying to make things fit into their theology. It's like, fam, ooh, I need a haircut. Yeah, it's just one of those things, man. I hope so, man. I hope so. I really hope that this video, amongst other videos, will just inspire people to speak up. All right, peace, Daniel. I'll probably get off soon too. But yeah, it's just one of these things where it's like, man, that's crazy. That's crazy, you know? The other reason why I was talking about sharing things, there's still like, I mean, 28 people's a lot for me. I don't know about you guys. But one of the things I was talking about with somebody today is that I know I'm passionate. I know I'm bold. I know I'm out here talking like this and everything. Please remember that I took 8 years off, right? My first year out of the ICC, I literally helped a new person every single week leave the ICC. Somebody called me. Somebody called me every single week. That first year I left the ICC. After that year, I pretty much went ghost. Like, I wasn't even on Facebook. I think I deleted Facebook 2018 or something like that. I wasn't on Facebook. So one of the reasons why I can come back so strong and so passionate is because I've been able to build my life, build my personality, build my self-esteem, build my character back up. And so, yeah, I'm passionate. Yeah, you might feel like I'm hard and going at it, but I've taken time to process. I've taken time to deconstruct. I've taken time to examine myself. And it's why I like the idea of like, we got God. Because at the end of the day, that is what's going to help you heal. Like, truly accepting the truth. You don't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Right? You don't have to stop being a Christian. You don't have to stop being a disciple. This is just where I landed, right? And I just think that it's weird that people that were in my wedding, people that I lived with, people that like were a big part of my life are no longer part of my life because I don't believe the same thing as them. Like, that's weird. Like, you should, like, bro, like, if you bring it up, yeah, I'll tell you exactly what I believe and why I believe it. But it's like, fam, if you, like I say, bro, a new sucker is born every minute. People are going to be in cults regardless of what we do. I'm just saying that, like, y'all really got to look at the impact of this, man. Like, y'all really got to take a step back and go, this is bigger than me. This is bigger than my faith. This is bigger than what I think it makes. Like, this is big, bro. 45 years, same guy. Nobody has that streak, dog. Look it up. I've done the research. Nobody in American history has been able to stay on top of cults as long as that. So it's not that we got by like some swindler down the street, bro. We got by the greatest cult leader in American history. The greatest one. Like, we didn't get got by anybody, bro. So this is why it's like, I got me. Right? Because there's, again, I believe there's millions of us, dog. That's why you can just, I got me. Move on with your life. Keep loving God. Keep being a disciple. Keep making disciples. Figure yourself out. Go through a time period where you're away from the church, go do what you want. But just, I got me. You got me. And it does take a while to get there, though, because it does. Your boldness and lack of fear to tactics used as needed. Yeah, it's one of those things where, we'll get it. It's right below Daniel saying goodbye. Oh, I gotta scroll up, Ruthie. Ruthie, where is it, Ruthie? I don't see it. Daniel might have said bye twice. I see it again, Ruthie. I don't see it. So it's one of the strongest way to keep members. Yeah. And it's an echo chamber, guys. The ICC, ICOC, they're all echo chambers. Because their groups don't work without the echo chamber. They like nobody's gonna, bro, who is going to willingly give a church? Why can't I see your question, Ruthie? I've been out for like since 2016. That's my grandma-in-law, Kathy Beatty. Everybody say hi to grandma. But I don't know why I can't see your question, Ruthie. I'm looking for it. But yeah, these guys, they just keep you in this echo chamber and you can't get out. And it takes a while. And don't be ashamed of it, you know. Oh, here we go. Curious for the words. Tim Kernan and leaders that came and said you left Eugene because you were selfish and having a secret affair basically with the campus suicide and was supposed to go late for training but got prideful and didn't want to help, so left the kingdom. Okay, so when I left Eugene, Ruthie was in there. Ruthie was in the church in Eugene. Here's what she asked. She said, Tim Kernan and the leaders that came with him to special mission said you left the Eugene ICC because you were selfish and having a secret affair basically with a campus sister and was supposed to go to LA for training and help but got prideful and didn't want to help, so left the kingdom. Okay. One, I was not having an affair with a campus sister. Here's why you got to be careful what you confessed, right? So I told you guys that they put a 19-year-old in charge of the finances of my church after Brooke Helm had to go to Sacramento. And you remember this, Ruthie. And I'm not going to say the sister's name. And nobody, if you know the sister, don't say her name in here because she's got her own side of the story and she should be able to say that. Because we were in so many situations where I just had to be alone with this girl, I was just honest. Like, I flirted with her. I was just honest. I said, hey, bro, like, this is where I'm at. This is what happened. I don't even think it was anything sexual. I think it was just, I know when I'm flirting. I know when I'm flirting with a woman, right? I just came for it. Hey, man, this is it. And I also think that one of my disciples had actually confronted me on it, and I really appreciated him for it. He had confronted me on it. He says, hey, bro, I just wanted to confront you on this thing. And I appreciated the call out. I'm be honest. I appreciate the call out because I thought that was a stupid situation to begin with. At the end of the day, it's my fault. But there was no secret affair. They made that up. And if anybody remembers that girl, she eventually left the church because they lied. They lied about that whole thing. So, yeah. And if they want to say that it's not, just tell them to prove it. But this is what they do. They try to sully your name. They try to say that, oh, you did this. He was having an affair. Okay. Just receipts. You know? Yep. Everything you ever confess gets backfired. Right? And this is why. Here's why so many evangelists don't leave. Guys, the people at the front of the church commit the worst sin. I promise you, bro. I promise you. The thing with Caleb and Quentin, right? The thing with Kip and the porn, right? These guys don't say anything because they're going to use your sin against you. Right? It's a very simple manipulation tactic. You come to me, you confide something vulnerable in me. I show you grace. You're now indebted to me. Not only do you feel indebted to me for showing you grace, but the other side of that is now I have something on you. Now I got something on you. And because I got something on you, you're not going anywhere. Because the second you go, Not only am I taking what you gave me, I'm going to make it 10,000 times worse. So you going to your discipler and confessing, hey, bro, I've been alone with this sister. I flirted with her. Turns into Gabe was having a secret affair. All right, bro. All right. Knock yourself out, dog. You are the Christian gossiping right now. Knock yourself out, dog. Like, yep, that's part of the deception tries to fake. Yep, that's all it is. They just got to give you a story to distract from it. Yep, he did. Kip straight up told people, don't confess your sin. Keep that in. Because that's how he was trained. That's how he was trained. It's not possible for all these things to be happening in separate churches all over the world and there's no connection, right? Talking about Central American disciples, Carlos Meehan and Savi so much. So many people came and disclosed the affair. Exactly, right? Exactly. This is why, bro. They tell those lies to you because they can't tell those lies to my face. Right? I told you guys, authenticity is the way out. Authenticity is the way out. Right? If Gabe was having a secret affair, why didn't they take me out of leadership? These are the same guys. If you go back 3 months earlier in the Good News email, they were praising me for having the fastest growing campus ministry in the movement. The second you're not on their team, you having a secret affair. 2 months earlier, I had the fastest growing campus ministry in the movement. So, but it's once you realize that's just the games that they play. Once you realize, oh, that's just who they are. That's just who they are. This is why it's easy for me to go, these guys are not Christians, dog. They're not Christians. And so this is why you don't need to be afraid of them. This is why it's like, whatever. And there's more of us. I'm with Vic. Like, I can't sit here and guarantee that I'm going to like get you a lawyer, right? But fam, if they come after y'all, I'll put some money up, dog. I'll put some money up. I'll fundraise. I'll tag for that. We'll go tagging for you. We'll go tagging for you, man. All right, couple more questions. I'm gonna get out of here. Yep. That's how it works, man. They take things in the Bible, they twist it for their own pleasure, for their own gain, and then they get people like us to fall for the BS. So, if you're out, enjoy it, get, dog, there's such a lag on this thing. I don't even know what you guys are laughing at. Jesus, this lag is crazy. You guys are going to see this like 40 seconds from now. I have no idea what you guys are laughing at. Oh, I would tag. Yeah. I would tag for a class action suit. That's the thing, man. As long as you got something like you're willing to die for, go with it, man. Yeah, we are, man. We are. We're going to need some good therapy. But this is why I think like we're very close. Me, Dulce, Evie. We're actually planning like a East Region like Zoom night because I think that's part of the healing and that's part of the therapy, bro. Like Jonah and Bree got like kids and stuff, dog. Dulce still doesn't, but it's Dulce. Daniel's got a family now, so I think even being able to get together with people who left and just chop up story. Like last night, we were just chopping story. We had like a bunch of East Region people there. We had like 5 or 6 people from the old East Region there, and stuff like that is therapeutic, man. Stuff like that is really therapeutic because it's like, fam, y'all remember when we were in that cult? And it becomes that, man. Eventually it does become that. Eventually you can get here. Eventually you can get to a place of like, man, y'all remember we were in that cult? And it really does become a story like that. It becomes one of those stories. Like, it literally becomes like one of those stories. Like, oh man, it was so crazy. Why so much of the East region sent to Oregon? I don't know. Bro, I remember that. Bro, I remember they were saying you put a hit on Kip. Bro, I was like, all right, somebody lying. I didn't know where it came from. But yeah, I remember that. I remember somebody said Vic put a hit out on Kip. I was like, bro, come on now, y'all. Come on. All right, guys. I think I'm going to get out of here, too. Love you guys. Keep those stories coming in. We got God. It's okay. We're going to take down the greatest cult leader in American history. Oh, sorry. Yes, you've been asking that question, Lisa. Is Kip banned from all churches now? Both? No. I want this question. Where's Kip going to church now? Oh, yeah. Okay, so people are asking, okay, Kip, I think he was last spotted. I think he was last spotted at the ICC service. But, I mean, we're all pretty sure he's going to pop up in the RCW. If Jason thinks he's going to have any type of autonomy leading that thing, he is outside of his mind. Kip ain't giving him none of that, bro. Kip ain't giving him none of that. Or Kip is going to hype him up as he's going to be the guy that takes over. But again, when you look at it for what it is, you go, that's not the movement of God. That's not how movements of God work. Movements of God do not crumble 3, 4, 5 times. It just doesn't happen, bro. It's just a cult. It's just a Ponzi scheme to get money and things like that. So yeah, I think Kip will be in the art. I don't think. Who knows what Kip does? An arrogant guy. He'll figure out a way to get his name out there. But this is what I'm saying, bro. Like, there's even a part of Kip that likes that we're still giving him attention right now. There's a part of Kip that loves this. That oh, we're still talking about him. And it's like, cool, let's talk about him, bro. Let's just make sure we talk about him in a negative way. But all right, I'm getting out of here. Love you guys. Hit me up later.